I'm Jamie Carragher, and you are listening to the Kop podcast.
What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Kop podcast and pod and a pint episode 5. I am in Shenanigans with Alex on the Guinness.
How are we, fella?
Again. Yeah, good.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me down. I've seen the other lads that have come on, and obviously I rate all their work as well. So yeah, Shenanigans, great gaff.
Boss in it.
Top Guinness, nice little cozy corner. Feeling, Irish heritages here, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's good, mate. It's good.
I just having a few little arrows at the pub. Actually, you can't even
No,
see.
that's bollocks.
You can't see that.
You didn't get that, did you?
There you go. Have a bit of that. Nah, I didn't.
Surely not. That's
I was hoping I'd get it in shot, but it didn't. It fucking fucked me over, didn't it?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, how are you doing, lad? How's
I'm all right.
Going?
I'm good, thank you, Mick. Just travelling a lot. Nothing, unusual there, but yeah, busy Christmas period with all the games coming thick and fast. Going down to London tomorrow, back up here for Christmas on Monday. Been in Barca last week watching the Reds in Girona, so travelling like a madman, but really pinching myself every step of the way because, like I said, all the jobs that I've done in the past, someone said this is what I'd be doing. You have to pinch yourself all the time, and I'm sure you're like that as well. So yeah, loving life, mate. I really can't complain, and I've been living in Liverpool now for 3.5 years. So it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I absolutely love it, mate. Very lucky.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. Like people just say, like if you're the Scouse, you never leave. But when people come here for like uni or whatever, or you come for like a trip.
Well, I was supposed to be born in Fazak. I was 3 days away from being born in Fazakerley Hospital. My mum's from Scotland Road. All my family are kind of Melling, Fazak way, West Derby. So I've been coming here from literally day one. Literally, my passport says Camden on it. Which, in another conversation, that's a cool thing to have. But I think, I like my kid will be born here. Do you know what I mean? Like my Scouse heritage and my roots are very important to me. So like I said, I love it, mate.
Yeah. Well, and especially like when you were talking before about like Kop TV and DR Sports and stuff, and you're absolutely smashing it, lad. I love seeing the content and stuff. You've been absolutely smashing it, yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing it. I think January the 4th is 5 years since the Kop TV started. Don't get me wrong, crazy. We start on paper, right? We start the channel, win the league 4 months later after 30 years.
Yeah.
But obviously the lockdown happened, and it struggled for a time. And the reason it's called the Kop TV is because my mum worked in the Kop in the 70s. I don't know if you remember that Saint Etienne game in 77.
Yeah.
So she would have been in the Kop selling merch, scarves, little pins, badges and stuff, and then she'd sneak into the boys' pen and watch it.
Awesome.
And when I was sitting down thinking, right, because obviously I met Robbie and it came about via him that we started the channel, and when I was thinking of a name, my mum went, what about the Kop TV? And I went, so I was coming up with some shit names.
It's hard, isn't it?
Oh, do you know what I was going to call it? Red or Dead TV. And someone's probably got that now, so no offense.
That's definitely someone.
It's pretty shit. And I was thinking of something to do with Klopp, but then when he goes, what am I going to do? So the Kop TV, I typed it in, no one had it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, Mum, you fucking Scouse genius. I think you've done it. And then, I haven't looked back since. And obviously, after a year of working with Robbie in the kind of network, he said, you moving to Liverpool? Yeah, just moved up. He's like, right, do you want to come and present full time on DR? I was like, but I've just told you I've left London, so I'm very lucky. My mum still lives in London. She moved down from Liverpool a long time ago, so I can stay there when I'm in London. But yeah, predominantly I'm up in Liverpool, and I'm absolutely loving DR. I can't lie. I mean, this time 2 years ago, I was in Qatar with them for the World Cup. Some of the work that we've done is incredible. The banter that we have every Monday and Thursday with us crazy lot, it's great. So I'm, like I said, man, I'm very grateful.
No, you're absolutely smashing it. And just speaking of the Kop TV, like the interview you did with Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, that was Unbelievable.
It was
funny.
unbelievable.
So funny as well, some of the bits.
Yeah. So that was AXA got in touch with me months ago, and they offered me this job, and I was, like I said, mate, like, hang on, with the players in the training ground, they're like, yeah, and we want you to be a bit like a game show host. Like, do you watch Ricky Gervais and that? I was like, do I watch Ricky Gervais?
Yeah.
So, and I was just loving it, and I was like, this is mental. And don't get me wrong, obviously I got paid for it as well. And you head down there. Do you know what? A secret which I've not told anyone about that day. That was filmed in August.
Oh wow.
And when you're working with the club, there's obviously a lot of red tape and sign-offs and stuff like that. Because the show that I presented was called Injury Time, then they both got injured, the players that I was filming with. So that came out, I'd say, 4 months after I actually filmed it in August. But yeah, unbelievable. And then luckily at the time, I remembered to ask them to bring my cameraman and a photographer as well to capture kind of behind the scenes stuff. And then, yeah, like you said, I did a little Scouse accent with Curtis and Harvey. Million views on my Instagram. So
unbelievable.
Like every time I look back at that video, I know it was this year still, but I look back and think, just smile.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and the funny thing is, the first ever Kop TV game we ever attended was Derby when Curtis Jones scored that goal.
Yeah.
5 years ago. So yeah, great lads.
Yeah, it came full circle.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, working with the club and obviously working with the players, getting to know them, treating them like you're in a pub.
Yeah.
Like they're your mates. Do you know what I mean? That's how you've got to treat them.
Yeah.
And that's how you get the best out of them. So yeah, that was a truly like, pinch me, Jesus Christ, I'm here.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like watching Konate just walk past and with his top off and he gives you one of them. So yeah, it's unbelievable, mate. Dream come true. And it's apart from playing for Liverpool, I think working in this space is the second best thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, especially like I think like interviews that you can do, like 'cause I've done a few interviews with like former Liverpool players, but to get to do it with like the fellas that are there now, obviously like we've seen like the inside Anfield stuff, and we see like how close this group is, so you can kind of see that and go and kind of like try and be what they are in a way. Like you can, like what the vibe's going to be. It's not going to be like heavy or whatever. It's it's easy going.
And I've seen you met Fernando Torres, and you've done your interviews. Even when you meet former players, you still have that thing of, wow, I used to grow up watching you on telly. But I think you have to almost like forget that and treat them in the moment. One of the and when you're meeting Torres, you might bring up a little memory or whatever. But when I was at the Madrid game a couple of weeks ago, I was lucky enough to be there with TNT. And I'm walking to our like position in the on the pitch, and Ian Rush is there, and I've interviewed him like twice now. And as I've walked past, he's gone, "All right, lads," and he shook my hand.
Wow!
In front of like the main stand. I'm like, what is going on? Funny little other story. So I interviewed him at the top of Anfield for the abseiling. It was like a PR day. And I interviewed him, and I'd already interviewed him before that. And at the end, for some weird reason, I went, "Thank you so much. What a legend. Ian Wright."
Oh, shit.
And he went, "You're fucking wrong, mate." And that kind of exchange, like every time I see him, I go, "You're right, righty." So yeah, it's crazy, mate. And the ex-players are great crack as well. They're always up for a laugh and a beer and that as well.
Oh, great. Oh, absolutely smashing it. And you mentioned the Scouse. Yeah, obviously, like your mum coming from Scotty Road and that.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, when I watched that, I was like, what was the bit before that? What he urged you to say to prompt it?
So in the full BTS video, I'm wearing this suit, and again, another mad moment. So like, my mate's a tailor, and he made me this fucking suit, mate.
It's a good suit, like.
And you open it up, and it's got all the times that Liverpool won the Champions League.
Oh, sound, yeah.
So I do that. And Curtis has gone, "You're a proper fan, are you?" Yeah. Because he's turning up thinking, I don't know this guy. Like, oh, he's a Liverpool fan as well. And I'm like, yeah.
Because they might just think you're a random.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, you're a game show host." I was like, "Don't, mate. No. I'm a game show host, you crazy person. This is what I do." I'm a game show host today.
Yeah.
But he was like, "You're a proper fan then, yeah?" I went, "Of course, love me, man, from Scotty Road." And then it cuts to that bit where he goes, "But Scouse accent," and then into that accent. And I went, "Yeah. My whole I'm from North London, but all my family is Scouse." And then I did the Scouse accent bit, and I think I just didn't know it would go that big at all. And people in the comments, Scouse was going, "Canal, Scouse accent.
That is good, yeah.
But like I said, I've grown up in pubs with my uncle and my cousins. Everyone in the room has a Scouse accent apart from me.
Yeah.
So growing up in North London, it was all Tottenham Arsenal. And if I'm honest with you, if I didn't support Liverpool, I would have gravitated to Arsenal. But the fights that I used to get in at school for being a Liverpool fan, and it's not like we were doing well either. Do you know what I mean?
I can imagine.
Proper like, you're not a Scouse, so fuck off. And I'm like, well, right, I am though. So, so I like I was saying to you earlier, I'm so proud of my heritage and the morals that you get instilled into you by a Scotty Road nan. Like, it's very, very unique, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different type thing. Well, we were talking. I might cut this out depending on how my good impressions go. But we're talking about like impressions at like general. I think obviously like if you're good at impressions and then you're saying like you were surrounded by Scousers as well. But I've known like people that aren't from Liverpool who've been surrounded by Scousers their whole life, and you go do a Scouse accent and they sound like they're from Skemore. So I think you still have to have a bit of an affinity with like being able to do it as well.
Yeah, of course. And I speak Spanish, so I grew up watching Rafa Benitez and Xabi Alonso in broken English speak after games or before games, and you kind of get their accent. And when they are talking about a player and his name begins with S, they say Steve. Steve Gerrard Steve is a great player. Obviously, is very important. And ever since school, I was like, my Spanish teacher said, you can get an A star, but you take the piss. You're a distraction to everyone, but you're good at taking the piss. So whatever you do in your career, try and impersonate people if you can. And I've always been a little bit of a cheeky, front foot kind of person. So I've always taken people on. Alan Hansen, the cross comes in. Absolutely shocking defending. It's a goal. Cross comes in. It's absolutely, you never win anything with kids. So I'm a football nerd, mate. I've watched every interview, every podcast, every video, and I think naturally I could be with you for an hour and I'd take you on. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a bit of a piss taker, to be honest, mate. It's probably not the best thing, but
I think it's a skill.
For what I do is, I think
I am like I was saying to you before we started the film, like I am like a impressions nerd as well.
Yeah.
Like I love like watching like you probably know like Jay Farrow and like Frank Caliendo. There's so many good ones that are just like
Harry Spears and when he does all the rappers' voices.
Yeah, like shit like that. It's just I just think it's like it's literally like one of the best skills you can have, I think.
Yeah. I do a bit of a De Niro. I'm a massive film buff. So I love my De Niro film. So, I don't know if you know what it is right now. Don't talk to me like that, you know what I mean? Get out of here, you mother.
The face as well, though, but you've got to do the face.
But my missus keeps telling me to get Botox. I've got a very expressionate face. Because I'm on the telly and that. I've got a few wrinkles, but fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm natural. Yeah. That's what it is.
That's it. I mean, I've got in the laugh there.
Go on then.
I can do the voice. I think, can everyone do the voiceover? Like the main one, like get ready. That fella.
That's a good one. No, not everyone can do that.
No, I just think that one's probably
this summer.
This summer. Yeah, like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like the X Factor voice, the old X Factor.
Oh yeah, Rachel Adajiji or whatever her name. I can't do that one.
She was good. But yeah, it's just I'm decent at. I haven't got them all unlocked. Don't get me wrong. Like in that video, you saw Harvey go, "What? Where's your French?" Then I was like, "French."
Oh shit! Yeah, he was.
Then he went German. Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? Give me a break.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You said you could do everything. Well,
it's like I'm on a jukebox. You know what I mean? That's one of
put a quid in me. But my David Brent is. I think that's.
I just thought about that when you said put a quid in me. I saw the face coming out there. So one of them.
It's the looks to camera, isn't it?
On the looks,
that I do, and some people get it in the comments. They're like, "Who's that weirdo looking at the camera?" But when I go, so
you should know exactly, shouldn't you?
No, but work hard, 5 years. Yeah,
so good, lad. So good.
It could be you. Anyway. But I grew up again listening to the Carl Pilkington, the Ricky Gervais show, and extras for me.
Extras is so good.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not a massive US Office fan.
No,
I'm like thoroughbred English.
I think it was decent, but like it's the
original,
decent, the OG's the best.
Extras for me.
Extras was just...
when you've got De Niro on there, David Bowie, Samuel L. Jackson, rat up a drain pipe. Probably shouldn't have said that. Ben Stiller, Kate Winslet, fudding yourself silly.
Yeah.
It's just the best. Ricky Gervais, and I've seen him in Liverpool quite recently.
Yes, I've seen him in Dublin.
He was unbelievable, mate. Absolutely genius. Peter Kay I've seen as well. So with me, it's like comedy, sports, music, fashion, like everything I gravitate towards. Luckily, I've been able to I have comedy in my little skits that I do on DR, and I think an inspiration looking back was probably Fenners at Soccer AM.
Yeah.
So I did work experience at Soccer AM, or actually it was Revista de la Liga in 2009 or something when I was 14. Met Fenners and all the guys, and then actually wanted to present Soccer AM. I was like, this is the jackets and the clothes and the.
I think back then as well, it was one of the pinnacles, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when Fenners took over, obviously, I knew about the era of Tim and Helen, but my mate Joe Harris, I have to big him up. Big Arsenal fan. His dad was Andy Harris, who was the gooner in the gallery, who started off Soccer AM. He's no longer with us now, but they actually asked me to go on in March last year. Not like, on the sofa, but they said, come and do this TikTok challenge thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was like, yeah, amazing. Because I'd done work experience there, and I'd met them all, Curly and Fenners and all that. And Fenners obviously does his impressions, like looks the part in the jackets. I've met him, become quite close with him, interviewed him a few times. And I always looked up to him as like, that's what I want to do one day. And Curly asked me on, he was like, yeah, do you fancy it? And we were playing United at Anfield on the Sunday. This was the Saturday. And I was like, yeah, of course. Who's on? And he went, Jill Scott. And I went, yeah. Who else? Noel Gallagher. And I was like, right, okay. No. And I'm a massive Oasis fan. So I went down, met everyone. It's unbelievable. And then on the Sunday, we beat United 7-0. So it was one of the best weekends ever, to be honest. So yeah.
Down nice.
Yeah. And they were all loving the impressions and that. So yeah, it was good crack.
Yeah, I mean, I think a few years back I was like toying. I think in the days of like, do you remember Vine?
Like Dapper Laughs.
Yeah, like Vine, like 7-second videos. I think I was trying to dabble in like impressions. But
I'd never even had a Vine.
I had a Vine, yeah. I think it was just one of them things, innit? It was just like TikTok. We thought it was TikTok.
Yeah.
Like shorter version.
Short, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dapper Laughs used to do numbers on there, from what I can remember. But yeah, not everyone can do it. Like my missus, she's from Nottingham. She probably won't watch this, to be honest. Oh, did you do a vlog at Box Park Wembley? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's good. And subscribe. But she is awful at accents. Awful. Yeah, when I first got her, I was like, her accent's a bit mad. I don't know if I can be it with Nottingham, but she's awful. But you either got it or you haven't. Yeah. And I think when you're in a pub and there's lads there, you like making the boys laugh, innit? So if you can whack out an impression, it's a good party trick, innit?
It is. It's definitely a skill, and it's one that I absolutely love. So
it's good fun.
Yeah. Props for your boss Scouse accent. So keep that up, lad.
Nice one, man.
We've done a nice little chunk there, so we can't not talk about the Reds, of course. It's a LFC podcast, so we've got to talk about Liverpool. Just before we get into like Fulham.
I thought this was a Ricky Gervais.
Well, we can carry on talking about XFM and all that back in the day. Reds this season, like it's easy to talk about Liverpool because they've been absolutely smashing. Of course, like last 2 games we've dropped points in that, but in terms of like where we were under Klopp and then the uncertainty, Slot coming in, like not knowing what's going to happen, to now be where we are, like it's unfathomable for me. Like compared to what we like the nervousness maybe everyone was feeling before the season, like it's crazy. I think.
Yeah, and I think like every year, it's been an emotional year to be a Liverpool fan. We're sitting here in mid-December. Take it back 12 months. I think we were top of the league or around that, still in all the cups.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, right, let's get to 10 years with Klopp, and then we go to 11th, or 12th, or 13th. We turn them into immortal, and I think it was January the 20-something when we heard the news, and then for 4 months there's give and take. Who's it going to be? Alonso, no. Amorim, no. Even though apparently Liverpool weren't actually after Amorim in that way. We wanted Slot and we got Slot. And I think I was at the last game of the season when Klopp sung Arne Slot's song. And I'm telling you, man, there's no other football club in the world, there's no other fan base in the world, maybe even in sporting history, where a departing manager gets on the microphone and gets everyone to sing quite reluctantly because you're thinking, should we sing his name? We've never even met the guy.
Yeah. And it was Klopp's day,
it was Klopp's day.
Yeah.
That's the kind. That just shows you what kind of fella he is. So, like I said, that's so unique. He took away a lot of percentage of pressure with that one moment. And when Slot comes in, you know, obviously we're warming to him in pre-season. I think we beat Arsenal and Man United. I'm thinking we'll see what we've got. The thing that has impressed me the most is, and listen, we can talk about conceding 2 to Fulham and 3 to Newcastle, which isn't great. If Konate's in that defence, we don't concede 5 goals in 2 games without question. Yeah, but he's not, so we did. But the thing that's impressed me the most is the small amount of goals that Liverpool conceded this season. Yeah. Under Klopp, we could score goals for fun. That was never an issue. In fact, we were actually at times trying to score too many goals, and it's like,
childer.
Let's go from rock and roll to a bit of jazz or something. A bit of classical. Yeah. But under Slot, what we're seeing is, and again, it sounds silly saying this because we have conceded 5 and 2, and obviously we can't be doing that again. But the control in the games has been incredible, and he's actually got us to a point now. Again, we're in mid-December. 4 months on from when the season started, and we're talking about don't let the title go now.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, what a start! So, mate, to beat United 3-0 away in your, was it first away game, second away game? Yeah. No, it was Ipswich first, and then home game, then United 3-0. I mean, you've already, people are making flags about you already on the Kop.
Yeah, exactly.
So what a start from the fella, and I'm starting to love him more and more as each week passes. He speaks really well. Obviously got a touchline ban, which isn't a reflection on him, it's a reflection on the shit refs. He never had a touchline ban in his career, and comes to Liverpool, gets one straight away. So
he kind of said that yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it, mate, and I think the sky's the limit for now. Now that this isn't a fluke now. We're actually almost halfway through the season here, so mate, carry on, see where we end up. I'd love a day out or 2 at Wembley. I'd love a Champions League run, and in this position right now, obviously I went early a couple of weeks ago, didn't I, and said we're going to win the league. And we've won 2 games since, and I'm getting terrified for it.
Yeah,
I don't control them on the pitch, by the way. I have no. Kelleher doesn't look at my fan cam. I'll tell you what, I'll just let that ball go over my head.
Alex said to you, we're going to win the league.
So grow up, people, you bedwetters. But yeah, unbelievable start, mate.
Yeah, I think it's just took me a while to get used to I think Klopp as a person, he was like larger than life, and then there's also like the footy, which was a bit mad at times, where like you said before, right? The reference like scored goals, but we also conceded quite a bit, especially in like the last maybe like year or so. But it's the control, which I guess I think affected the atmosphere a little bit early on, where we're like, whoa, the balls in behind weren't there.
This is a bit too clean for us.
Yeah, and I think it affected the atmosphere. But then once we started racking up the wins, I was like, actually, this fella knows what the fuck he's doing here.
He knows what he's doing.
And then we're seeing press conferences where I think he's coming out of his shell a little bit more as well. You've seen him laughing, you've seen him joking, you've seen him like, I think he said something the other week about like, he said something to the referee like, how like fuck off or fuck's sake or something. And he was like, no, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Konate or something. Yeah. And I think to see that side as well, where you're like, he's got a bit of a sense of humour.
The human nature of it all. And listen, we got that in bucket loads from Klopp. Yeah. He was quite temperamental sometimes, and you know, maybe he'd laugh in the wrong moment, and this is very rare that he did this, but you'd think, was that the right thing to say? Have you caused a bit of a pile-on now for other fans to beat you with a stick?
Yeah.
But with Slot, he's kind of it's like a graph, and it's just going like that. Yeah. The more games we play, the more personality we see, the more wins we're getting, happier he is. Obviously dealing with injuries, we're suffering with suspensions, and that brings out, you know, the tough times bring out personality, and I think what we're seeing so far, we're loving it. Yeah, I'm honest.
Yeah,
he's got no hair, but we don't care at this stage.
Exactly.
Definitely got the right bold manager from Holland, though, didn't we?
Well, that was the funny thing, because I think I've mentioned it on a few of these shows so far. Like the narrative is I just think it's funny the way it shifted. Like people were saying, like Klopp's leaving, the Klopp factor's going to be gone. You're going to be like dropping down the league.
Everyone said and then they go, well, they haven't played anyone tough yet.
And then you've got Klopp's squad. Like,
and then you beat Man City, you beat Real Madrid, and they go, well, they haven't played anyone away.
Yeah.
And then
it was something every week.
Something every week.
I was like, oh, you got given Klopp's squad, so of course you're going to be top of the league.
Like, but they weren't saying that in August.
That's what I mean. It's the shift in narrative that I love, and I'm right here. You mentioned Southampton. It's obviously tonight. We're doing it on the day. I imagine it's going to be a fairly young lineup, maybe with a few like first teams littered in there. What are your thoughts, like lineup wise? I think
I'm cool with that.
Train Ione might be playing.
Yeah,
apparently.
I've heard that. I've heard Norris at left back maybe. I'm cool with that. But what I don't want to happen is we don't win this Carabao Cup from this position. In my opinion, if you're a Liverpool Football Club and you're getting to a quarter final, whatever competition it is, like it'd be a disappointment if you didn't win that as Liverpool. So listen, you can mess around with the team a little bit, but Southampton have been so poor, like disgracefully poor. And I think when you look at their results, you would on paper say a Liverpool C team should be dealing with these guys. You know, a Liverpool D team beat Chelsea in the final last year. So let's not underestimate what the kids can do. Let's not think it's a weaker team just because they're young, because they're good players. But I wouldn't like to. I mean, Jayden Danns, the last game he played for Liverpool, the first goal he scored for Liverpool against Southampton in the cup. So maybe there's a shout to go with him over Nunez. Obviously Jota, unbelievable injury record. So he'd mix it up a little bit, but this is a massive. After the draw now on the weekend, this actually becomes a massive game. So not only get through to the semi, but to give you a bit of winning momentum again for Spurs away. And obviously we got cheated there last season, so that's got to be put right. But if we lost tonight, and then it would be a lot tougher to actually mentally win on Sunday. So
I think that's something I've spoke to Christian about. Like I do the pods with normally. Like it's like is he gonna go like tried and tested, like as strong as, and then like try and win it, bring them off in 60 and try and rest people, or is he maybe gonna like litter it with a few youngsters in there? I'm a big fan of like going strongish, and keeping the momentum, because I think that's a massive thing in footy. If you get, especially like you mentioned after recent 2 games where we drop points, like to get a win tonight and then to roll that over, and with a few of the fellas who've started tonight straight into for Sunday, like that can be a big thing, I think.
100%, and it looks like Robbo's only going to get a 1-game ban, so he can miss tonight and then actually play at Spurs. That's great, because obviously we're short on defenders at the minute. So it's one of those games that you can tinker a little bit, but if it's not going your way, get the big guns on immediately. And you know, Salah probably start, to be fair, but you could bring on a Soboslai, Diaz, Gakpo, all off the bench, Chiesa. That's who I want to see starting tonight, starting the game, wherever it is, I don't care. So obviously he's taken a lot of time to bed in, but should be beating Southampton, with all due respect to them. I mean,
definitely
poor team at this season.
And then you mentioned Spurs away, like you mentioned as well. You mentioned the PTSD from last year, like Diaz and
I don't even want to talk about
Jones, Jota, Matapoji. Like it was just, the whole thing was just. I mean, the Diaz thing, I still want to see. Like if I see it like on the timeline on Twitter, I'm just like, I can't look at it.
No, because that is the angriest I've ever been after a football match in my entire existence. Cheating doesn't even cover it. I remember at the time, like, obviously we were doing a live watch along on DR, and when I realised how wrong it was, I had to leave the studio for a minute and go outside and like punch a wall and like swear and just smoke. You know what I mean?
I get out somehow.
Honestly, mate, I couldn't deal with that. That was, I mean, both the red cards were mistakes. The goal was crazy, and then obviously the Matip own goal right at the end. Like it was absolute disgrace, that football match, but it's what it is.
And especially like we mentioned, like the 2 games that we've dropped point recently. If we win tonight, I guess, like then going into Sunday, like hopefully get a bit of momentum if we do win tonight. But it's kind of like made it a little bit more important as well, because we've dropped the points in the last 2 games where we've get, like, it's still early. Like everything we say in terms of like title challenges, and maybe you said like you went early, you're saying we're going to win the league and all that. But like you've got to caveat everything, I think. But like it's still early, because you don't want to get too excited. I obviously want us to do it, and I think we could do it. Then like Chelsea are there. And then we've got the game in hand thing where
people it's a horrible game in hand to have.
It's a horrible game in hand, and we still don't know. Has it been confirmed?
I think they're talking about February the 11th. So I think that's when the round of 16 for the Champions League would be.
Right,
or like the playoff game now. It's not that, it is the playoff game. So I think obviously if Liverpool go through with these in first place, which we have now, then we're guaranteed top 8 now anyway. So I think that's the window where it would be. It's going to be windy then as well. In February.
Yeah. It'll be grim.
We'll
It'll still be grim, won't it?
Imagine if it gets cooled off again.
Yeah, I mean, the original date with like the winds, like 70-mile-an-hour winds in Pickford, like that would have just been
good old Irish storm coming over.
Wouldn't have been
storm
fun. Wouldn't have been fun at all.
You can imagine ball in the air after a Pickford kick stays up there.
Yeah.
And the wind's taking it everywhere. Yeah, that would have suited them way more.
Yeah, it would have been a horrible day.
Horrible,
We'll move on to finally. I put a little post on Twitter asking for some questions, and Errol, the legend from Redmen,
big him up, man. What a guy!
What a guy! Going to get him on soon. Get him on in January.
Definitely get him on. Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Good fella.
One of us.
So he asks, you can only dip into the market in Jan for either an LB left back or a CM centre mid. Which one are you picking?
Here's my answer, and I've been thinking about this because I saw him tweet me. I get the left back. I get Kirkes in Jan.
Yeah.
Right, and then I'd call back Bajcetic from Salzburg.
Yeah,
so
I've seen that.
Almost both. I know you're asking me for one or the other, but I'm saying, well, I'm not actually spending any money on Bajcetic. I'm just saying, come back home.
Yeah.
And I think, I tweeted that yesterday, and people were going, he's not ready, and he's not going to get any minutes.
I was looking through the replies on that, and I was
like, do you not remember in February 2022, he started the derby and got man of the match in the derby. That was 2.5 years ago, by the way, before he'd actually grown into his body. And I know he got the injury, but you can't judge him off his time at Salzburg. No. I mean, Pep Linders, bless him, we were a big fan of his, but he's been sacked. He's obviously taken Clark there and Stefan to help him. They've done a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can't blame Bajcetic for that. And I think when you're dealing with suspensions, I mean, Gravenberch is 1 yellow away from missing a game. Maka has just missed one. Obviously getting injuries in midfield as well. I mean, he actually can play centre back as well.
Yeah,
Bajcetic. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. You give him a call and say, look, you're going to play a part. You might not play a massive part, but you're going to play some games this season. So from what I've seen of him in real life, he's more than ready. I don't know if you remember that Newcastle away performance.
I do,
when we won 2-0. The awareness that he's got, he'll kind of hold someone off, and without even touching the ball, he lets it roll, and then you're in.
Didn't he, where he run
from the keeper. I think he's a great player. The thing is, we live in this day and age, mate, where people are so quick to write people off.
Yeah.
We're talking about is Robbo finished, and look, I did say we should get a left back, but that's just natural. He's 31, 32.
Yeah.
He's been absolute Duracell battery for the last 7 years for Liverpool. That doesn't last forever. We've seen it with Fabinho, we've seen it with Ronaldo, we've seen it with Henderson. As much as you love them, at some stage, maybe whilst they're actually still there, you blood in the youngster.
Yeah.
And I think from what I've seen, I like Ryan Aït-Nouri. I like Kirkes on the left for Bournemouth. He's a bit younger.
A bit older.
Robinson's a bit older, 27, I think, 27, 28.
Yeah.
And actually, he got skinned up at Anfield by Salah as well.
Salah was skinning him, really, yeah.
But so I go Kirkes or Ryan Aït-Nouri, probably Kirkes. But that's not to say Robbo's instantly banished. Look, we might have to say goodbye to Costas this summer, which I think will happen. But then you've got Kirkes as the understudy still, learning from the master. By the way, he's got most ever assists for a defender in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So to write him off is mad. He was man of the match against Girona last week.
Yeah.
And yes, he's had a couple of stinkers. Saka at Arsenal, the Madrid penalty, this one at the weekend, which was a howler. It's the worst 15 minutes I've ever seen from him. So I go in for Kirkes, but I get Bajcetic back, and then in the summer you get another midfielder as well.
Yeah. I was actually watching the deep dive with Redmen, with Chris and Josh. And I was watching, I was like, that's a good point, because speaking of Robbo, like, as he's getting older, like, I think with Salah, you saw him go from, like, flying winger, pure pace, agility, still scoring goals, but maybe as that pace lessens as he gets older, which is natural, he's been able to tailor his game a little bit, because he's got, like, that overall quality. And he mentioned something about, like, Robbo maybe, like, not having maybe the awareness of, like, him and himself. Maybe in his head he's thinking, I'm still as good as I was. So he's still trying the same things, but it's not quite coming off in the same way. I thought that's probably a good way. From watching him, you can kind of get that, and think the positions change as well. He's not overlapping and bombing on like every 5 seconds. He's more reserved. He's coming in as a centre back sometimes as well. So I think it's a bit of that as well. I think.
Yeah, and I think if you look at what Kirk is doing, it's almost like what Robbo was doing 5 or 6 years ago in terms of overlapping. I mean, listen, we were spoiled with John Arne Risa. We had a left back who could do it all, score loads of goals as well. It gets you 5 or 6 every year. The only negative I can actually say about Robbo is his lack of goals for Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, when it's kind of not settled on the floor, it's just bouncing up on the left-hand side. Risa just puts his foot through that and it goes in the top bins, whereas Robbo's shooting has let him down. He's not an attacker. He's not needed to score goals.
He scores more. He scores more headers, doesn't he?
At the back six, like what Gakpo's been doing recently. So I love Robbo, but almost like how, in a way, Henderson Gerrard Henderson was in for what, 5 years and learned so much under Gerrard, and then he took the captain's armband. Maybe we're seeing that with the left back at the minute, and Kirkes for me, and Ryan Aït-Nouri, to be fair, a bit more Premier League experience, but they're the two I'd go at. I'm sure we've been speaking to them anyway.
Yeah.
But in January, it would surprise me if we did it in January though, just because of how we move in the market.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Well, I think,
and they'd want a ton for him as well, 50 at least.
For Aït-Nouri or Kirkes?
Well, probably either. Yeah. In January, there'd be stuff.
I think that's it. I think that's the January deals, isn't it? I think they're always more difficult. That you have to hit the sweet spot perfectly with someone. You have to get them at the right time. Like maybe not a Premier League club, which again makes it even more difficult, doesn't it? If there's someone, if they're like, I don't know, Ajax or whatever, or some random team, you can kind of just pick them up and go, yeah, we'll have you, and then you can kind of get away with it a little bit more for a lesser price as well.
Yeah. The only January signing I remember in recent times that actually has done really well is probably Gakpo or Diaz.
Yeah.
Where I know we bought Suarez and Andy Carroll in January as well. That's an example of when it doesn't go well for Carroll's sake. Anyway. So yeah, it's a very tough time to enter the market because you're probably paying 25% more than you'd be paying in the summer.
Yeah.
But if we can go and get someone, I think it sends a massive message out to the rest of the league and also the fans to say we're serious, we're going for this, get behind us. And we'll have a big party in May if it comes to it. And again, like we touched on at the start of the episode, from August, if we actually go on and win the league, wow, we can't underestimate how good that is, mate. And I know City are struggling, that's not our fault.
Yeah.
We can only beat who's in front of us, and we haven't done it yet, but this could be what a ride we've got in front of us for the next 5 months. So.
I know, it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm like, I don't want to get me hopes. I think it's one of them, and like you don't want to. Having so many years against City where you only ends up winning
PTSD
it once.
Again, isn't it?
It's one of them,
and I think until you start pulling away and it's mathematical, then you can go, right, well, we're going to win it now.
Yeah.
But at the minute, we're seeing what can happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. Nice one for jumping on and short and sweet.
Man.
That was episode 5 of Pod and a Pint. I was joined by Alex, absolute legend. Get you back on again soon, lad.
100%, mate.
Nice one.
Give me a shout. Take care. Make sure you smash that like button. Get the comments in and subscribe to the Kop podcast as well, yeah? Make sure.
I'll just clip that for every other show.
No, you can do it if you want. Take it. Use it.
Yeah, but, we'll be back next week. I think I've got Neil Atkinson again on from...
he's coming back, is he?
He's coming back. He said on the episode, he was like, I'm going to be here every week because he didn't know he was upstairs in here. So he was like, I'm just going to be in the corner and you can just call me in for a sub if you need someone.
Been drinking Guinness in the corner and then subbing
like, Neil, we need you.
Yeah. No, I'll come back on, mate. I've enjoyed it. It's been good. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
No worries, lad. Yeah, we'll be back next week with Neil, and yeah, we'll see you all very soon. Ta-ra.
I'm Jamie Carragher, and you are listening to the Kop podcast.